Baruch, good morning, Rabotai. You were speaking about yesterday some of the dinim and the procedure for a Minyan Poalim, which is Minyan for people who have to rush out, people who are traveling before Netzach Hama. Like we said, not the most optimal time for tefillah, but at the end of the day, it works. Now, like we said yesterday, there are some people who, unfortunately, because in the winter especially, when the netz is late, people are sometimes tempted, they want to get out early, so they pray like they would the rest of the year. And that's incorrect. A person has to tweak the tefillah during the rest of the year, during the winter, to what the Netzach Hama is. Just because a person has a set time to pray during the year doesn't mean that we should continue during the winter. You have to kind of adjust it to the Netzach Hama. Sometimes you see people, you don't see it's a Minyan Poalim, but it's a Minyan Poalim full of, not Poalim, but full of bosses. It's all the bosses coming to pray by Minyan Poalim. Is Minyan Poalim was made, the Poalim speak about it for a person who's going to lose money. He has a job, and if he doesn't show up to the job on time, right, he has a certain time to come to work every day, and during the winter, when the netz is late, if he comes late, so his parnassah is on the line. We're not talking about that a person wants to just, be wherever he is early. Okay, a lack of profit is not necessarily a loss. A person can lose his job, that's a big deal. A person has to go on a trip, a person's going to miss his flight, that's a big deal. But as opposed to a person who just, as a matter of habit, or as a matter of whatever it is, sometimes, I've lived elsewhere before. If you remember, before I got here, there's certain people, when they get older, they go to sleep, right? Older people sometimes, especially when they get to a certain age, they go to sleep, right? Mincha Arvit, especially in the winter. What time is it? 4, 4:15, 4:30. Mincha Arvit, dinner, bed, which means they're in bed by 6:30. 6:30 they go to sleep, and then when do they get up? 3, 4, whatever. They're up. So now what? They're not going to work anywhere. They're pensionated, right? They're retired, and yet they're up at 4 in the morning. Yalla Shacharit. Zelo nachon. A person has to realize these things, and if a person is not, if the Minyan Poalim is not appropriate to the person, he shouldn't be praying there. Like we said, all the poskim say that if a person has a choice, there's one Minyan, which is a Minyan Poalim, which is a Minyan before Netzach Hama, and a person is not a Poalim, and a person is not he's not going on a trip, it's not Sha'at Dacha, not any of these extenuating circumstances, the Halacha is, rather than pray with that Minyan, that only Minyan in town, Shacharit, wait for or after Netzach Hama, pray b'yechidut. Why? Because when you pray before Netzach Hama, your tefillah is handicapped. The tefillah comes up to HaKadosh Baruch Hu with a handicap plaque, right? It comes limping. That's not, so if a person's in that situation, mala asot, aval mikol makom, if a person's not, why would you take a handicapped tefillah over one that is lechat tefillah, even at the expense of tefillah b'tzibur, without any question whatsoever? So that's something that people sometimes don't take into consideration, that they should, just because they're used to doing something throughout the year, doesn't mean, sometimes routine is good, but sometimes routine can get in the way of Avodat Hashem, sometimes the routine has to be tweaked. Have a wonderful day.